Guns don't kill people, rappers do. I seen it in a documentary on BBC Two. Shot to death outside Hyper Value, guns blazing like Michael Caine in Zulu.
Sure, brothers.
Move out!
In my last video, I discussed briefly how being the responsible adult and plugging gaping huge holes your team leaves in your lines can be a bit of a thankless task. So I figured it's only fair to use this video to demonstrate the benefits of doing the right thing. Once more, platooned up with my mate Skinklord in the Tiger II, and myself grinding out the Caernarvon Mark II. As you see, we were initially planning to head out east, but noticed that the west was a touch light. So, rapidly changed course and redeploy out west to take advantage of the favourable terrain there. I have to admit, the rebalancing of the map in the 9.0 patch has really changed the play on this. It's rapidly becoming my all-time favourite map. It really does offer so many opportunities for transitions between different lines of advance, just wonderful free-flowing gameplay, and also just having a lot of options for canny players to basically dig in and hold off greater odds. Needless to say, there's a lot of opportunities for the Caernarvon to really go to work with its gun depression and godlike turret, and I'm hoping to exploit this like an absolute whore. Up ahead you see the best player on the enemy team in a Cheeto giving our Cromwell the bad news. Off the top of my head, I think the Cheeto's the only tank at tier 6 that out DPMs the Cromwell, and fighting over a ridgeline like this, the Cheeto definitely has a clear advantage. Flashing up now is my custom success icon featuring Timwera Morrison from New Zealand's favourite romantic comedy, Once Were Warriors. Now, if you want to know the soft spot to shoot on a Cheeto, it's the location roughly inside that purple outline there. Our friends in the east have pushed fairly deep and met some resistance, but most of the enemy team remains unspotted. So I move up to the crest to put some pressure on the Cheeto, and say hello to the rest of the enemy team. A wild bird is sighted and needs to die. Unfortunately, that shot wafts directly into the track, but I managed to plug one more into him before he gets away. And yeah, that's definitely not something that's going to come back to bite me in the ass, is it? Now we see the Super Pershing presents its flank in a gesture of submission, indicating that it wishes to donate its hit points to the Caernarvon, and after the Caernarvon asserts its dominance, the Super Pershing backs off to allow the Caernarvon to eat in peace. A truly majestic creature, the wild Super Pershing. Taking stock of the situation, we've got there two top-tier tanks and their base player, backed up by a smattering of derp-heavy tanks. Thanks to our TDs, they can't really flank us, but they've got the numbers to rush us. Sadly, their Cheeto's the only one that seems to have the courage to do so. But the position they're in is disadvantageous. The ridgeline's really working in the favour of my Caernarvon here. We can use our armour to hold them at arm's length and just shave off health from them at our own leisure, effectively. The gun mantlet on the Pershing can bounce just about anything in the game, but you know what won't bounce a shot? The patch of dirt next to the tank. The Super Pershing returns and once more presents its flank, indicating it wishes to consummate the mating ritual, and promptly gets fucked. Lovely plumage, the Super Pershing, but in this game, plumage doesn't enter into it. As you can probably see on the map, the really passive play of the enemy at this juncture is sort of allowing their team to be cooped up into just 1/3 of the map. The Cheeto has been the only tank effectively putting pressure onto us, and you don't even really need XBM to show that he's the only one with the experience, the only one with the confidence to do so, while the Pershing, etc. sit back and wait for us to crest to take pot shots at us. The rest of our team sweeping down around the southeast, all the enemies clustered at the E2, F2 area, don't really have the luxury of playing for time. Skink and I and our top-tier heavies have been keeping our guns in play, and our presence here means that they can't turn back and deal with the enemy sneaking into the base. We're a problem they needed to deal with, and the Cheeto has been the only one with the initiative and the gumption to actually try to do it. You can see the T-150 finally try to make a move, but it's just too little too late.
The gun's damaged. We can't fire accurately. Observation device is damaged.
Our team has now swept the south and they're circling the base, forcing the enemy's tier 7s onto the back foot. The Pershing top tier tank still taken no damage. He's taken no risks this game. Had very little impact, he's practically been shut down. Because of the way it's played out, every enemy tank now is facing incoming fire on pretty much all fronts. In this situation, it's hard to manage your armor, hard to ration your hit points, and difficult getting into a good position to place worthwhile shots. As you can see, they're not going down without a fight, and full credit to them, but by this point it's just a case of grinding out as much damage as they can before it's all over. And by now the cleanup has begun in earnest. Track's back up, and I leave Skink to deal with the Pershing. I'm pretty much a two-hit kill for his 90mm. And instead I pop over the hill to deal with this Cheeto that has been the only one to damage me with anything other than high explosive in this game.
Target acquired.
I lock onto target because there's absolutely nothing on his tank that can possibly bounce a shot from me, and I just want to concentrate on moving and chasing him down. You can see how quickly through bad positioning a game can go from stalled to a complete and utter rout. The enemy invested far too many tanks in the west to simply sit and hold position with them. They had the numbers, but no momentum, essentially allowing Skink, myself, the KV-2 and the smattering of tank destroyers to just turn the game into a shooting gallery. Yep, we've got ourselves a runner. I'm not gonna lie, this right here is one of the most gratifying kills I've ever had. That guy has been spamming high explosive at me for so long. I've got a Burt, I love it to bits. It's a sports car with a shotgun strapped to it, but few things are more frustrating than being left to the tender mercies of that 105. And that's all she wrote. Steel Ball in a held-down Caernarvon is not really surprising, but definitely appreciated in a ×5 weekend, netting me a respectable 7,350 XP. Skink and myself took first and second places respectively, and it's not really that surprising. We had no shortage of willing donors of HP wanting to help us out. The only thing really stopping us from running riot on that flank was the presence of the Cheeto, essentially putting pressure on our flanks. It may only be a tier 6 medium tank, but if it gets around the side of a Caernarvon or a Tiger 2, there's not really much we can do to counteract it while we're focusing on the tier 8s ahead of us, and the phenomenal damage output on that machine could severely hinder our capacity to act. Now, the benefit of being the responsible adult and holding a weak point in your line is that you're essentially not fighting your team for damage. As you can see, the Cromie T25/2 and KV-2 did minimal damage output, and the only one coming close was the Su 12244, and that was always going to happen. If we'd stuck to the flank we were initially headed to, we could have blown through the eastern flank a little bit quicker, but perhaps the forces arrayed in the west might have actually grown up here and overrun the KV-2. It's a slow-firing vehicle, and the Cromwell popped rather quickly, as was seen, leaving only a pair of tank destroyers to hold the line, and they don't really have the armor or the hit points to sort of tank on their own and blunt an enemy offensive. So I really feel the west was the right position for our top tier heavies, locking down a significant portion of their force and allowing the rest of our team to sweep through and encircle them, securing a very, very comfortable victory. It's all about understanding the capabilities of your vehicle and having a fair prediction of where the enemy is going to act, where you can counteract it, and knowing the lay of the land. And with the application of a little thought, even a scrub like me can do fairly well consistently. Thanks to any masochists that sat through this to the end, and I hope you enjoyed it. Ciao for now.